tear in my eye. And this is the kind of stuff that I cry very easily at. Just ask my wife. And I want to thank you and all the work that the Veterans Garage did. This is beautiful. I mean, it really looks fantastic. I'd also like to recognize Mokina's Women's Club and our Public Works Department. Lou, as usual, you guys did a heck of a job working on the cemetery and fixing things up for today. Thank you, and please thank everybody at Public Works. Also, Davis Concrete for donating the cement for the pad here. Thank them, and Lou, thank them for us. I appreciate that also very much. Also, the reenactors, you know, you fellas don't realize, but when you come and you do this kind of stuff, it makes us realize what our soldiers, our veterans fought for years ago. And it's something that we need to be remembered. We need to realize that what we have wasn't just given to us. We had to work and fight for everything that we had and have. And I thank you for taking the time on your day, off of your day, to come out here and do this for us and help us with this presentation today. Thank you very much. And finally, to the veterans, thank you for what you gave up. And I appreciate the hell out of everything that you guys have done for us. We're able to have this today, we're able to do this because of what you men and women gave for us. And many of your buddies aren't here, you're here. We can thank you. And I know how many of you must feel for the men and women that didn't come back. You guys did. And I thank you for what you've meant to this country. Thank you very much.
The field artillery piece you see here today is now 75 years old. It represents an era in our nation's history when we became engaged in a Second World War. It represents technology of the day and the struggle to overcome the technical advancements of our enemy, mainly the Panzer tank. It represents the will of people of this country and our ability to adapt and respond quickly and effectively as a nation. It represents the companies that almost overnight retooled to produce the machines and equipment and weapons of war. Companies like Vilter Manufacturing in Wisconsin that made safes quickly adapted to manufacture breech blocks for heavy guns like this. Companies like the Pullman Standard Company right here in Illinois that manufactured railroad cars and quickly became proficient in manufacturing the carriage assemblies for the same heavy artillery guns. But most importantly, this U.S. Army M5 anti-tank 3-inch gun stands as a proud reminder of the strength and will of the brave men and women of all of our armed forces. It's not just important that we remember, it's critical we never forget. As we stand here today and remember those who served and those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, let this gun remind us each day that there are men and women standing watch around the world, just like this gun. They are deployed in peaceful countries and dangerously dark regions of the world every day, right now, with one purpose: to protect and defend each and every one of us and our freedom and our blessings here at home. So we do not let the last 75 years or the next 75 years to cause the purpose of this gun to fade. Like our remembrance to those who have and will serve, it is our duty to protect this and other memories and honor them every day. They are the link between the past, present, and future. It is now my pleasure to dedicate this cannon. Again, with great pride, by the authority vested in me by William Martin Post 725, Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States and the Department of Defense, I hereby dedicate this M5 anti-tank gun to its well-deserved resting place here in Pioneer Cemetery, Mokina, Illinois. Today we see this piece of American military history standing proud, barrel raised, ready for action. Looks amazing, doesn't it? I too had a tear when Mayor Joel pulled up with the reenactors. He can't tell you the pride I have right now. As most of you know, it looked a lot different a few months ago. Thanks to the Mokena Public Works Department, it had just been repainted and looked better than it had in years. But it needed and deserved more work, not just to preserve it, but to make it better than when it arrived here. About a year or so ago, Police Chief Steve Vaccaro ran into my wife Vicki and shared with her a vision that the Pioneer Cemetery and this U.S. Army gun should be revitalized, that the gun should be restored and displayed more respectively. She shared Chief's comments with me, and I wholeheartedly agreed. I tried to think of how a project like that could be accomplished. I turned to a man I knew might provide an answer, former Mayor Joe Werner. We spoke about the gun, and he told me that he had long dreamed about restoring the gun. He told me that his vision was not only to restore the gun, but to create a more fitting display, including a full concrete pad, fence, lighting, signage, and more prominent viewing location here at Pioneer Cemetery. He told me that volunteers of the Veterans Garage would be honored to take on the mission. But time and nature had taken its toll on this proud veteran. It was estimated that cost to properly refurbish the gun would be as high as $30,000 to $40,000. But Mayor Joe was confident that Mokena would step up and make this mission an affordable reality. He knew that when people found out that we were going to restore the dignity of this veteran, that they would help in any way they could, and they did. Looking at it today, it's hard to imagine, but it took over 400 hours to complete this project. In many ways, it looks very much like it did. To those who may not have been closely familiar, the improvements seem mostly cosmetic. Fresh paint, no rust, new tires, but it goes way beyond that. Way, way beyond that. All of the labor was donated by volunteers at the Veterans Garage, both veterans and patriots. And with the help of some very patriotic businesses, the gun was professionally media blasted to remove years of paint and rust. Parts that needed to be replaced or repaired were no longer available. All of them had to be refabricated from scratch, some sand-casted by hand. Other parts were painstakingly disassembled and repaired. Rusted steel was replaced. 2 coats of epoxy primer and 2 coats of paint were applied to provide lasting protection from exposure. The attention to detail and the obstacles they overcame are a story in of themselves. But they refused to fail in their mission. To tell that story and to share it now and for years to come, the Veterans Garage documented their work in great detail. They have produced a condensed chronicle of this project in the booklet you received today. They also created the storyboard you see over here on the sidewalk, the yellow box right there, and provided a weatherproof copy of the booklet mounted by the storyboard so that the visitors can read more about the gun. As you can imagine, there are so many people to thank. Let me start with Mayor Frank Flesch and the Mokena Village Board, especially Trustee Jim Richmond, for supporting this project. Lou Taberry and Mokena Public Works for assisting with logistics and the work here at Pioneer Cemetery. We are so proud to see this historic site treated with the care and respect it deserves. Carmen Smallwood and the GWRS Mokena Women's Club for their support and dedication to Pioneer Cemetery. I would now like to just take a moment to thank major contributors for this project. There were 4 of them. The Crown Painting of Frankfurt did the media blasting, epoxy primer, and painting. South Suburban Welding, which is George Bender and Denny, they fabricated the trail leg that was missing when it came up. Illinois Foundry, Scott Lundstrom, did the brass sand casting and the brass gearbox cover and handles. And Barber Spring, Jim Schlegel, counterbalance spring fabrication. Other significant contributors, no less important. Again, the Village of Mokena, Mayor and Board of Trustees, the Village of Mokina Public Works Department, Talamar Fabricating, Al Brack, Davis Concrete, Chris Davis, Ozinga Concrete, Tim Ozinga, GFCW Mokina Women's Club, Carmen Smallwood, K Brothers Fence, Alpha Graphics, Image 360 Mokina, GPRS Incorporated for doing the radar work, Custom Tire, Jim Garrison, Rich Meadows, TVG, they worked on the breech block cover and story pole. Additional historical information provided by Steve Bartkowski, Jeff Wozlek, and Rob Horace. World War II Historical Reenactors Society, 9th Infantry Division, Zach Sobaxon. The Veterans Garage, Volunteers, Garage Shop Facility, Transportation, Tools, and Equipment. Coming to the end. There are some names I'd like to read off from the Veterans Garage that put these 400 hours into this cannon. David Evans, a Navy Seabee. William Brandt, U.S. Air Force. William Mix, U.S. Air Force. Rich Mix, U.S. Air Force. Bob Metzger, U.S. Army. Rich Meadows, U.S. Navy. John Capp, U.S. Army. Jim Schlegel, U.S. Army. Mike Knight, U.S. Marine Corps. Joe Werner. Mark Randall. Jeff Wozlulik. Dan Fagan. Chris Kanofsky. C.J. Kanofsky. Jeff Mutinsky. Bill Mutinsky. Jim Perry. Tyler Mayhall. Ryan Kraus. And Dan Knight. Thank you, everybody. And I cannot tell you how proud I am, and this is the moment, and again, I'm done, relax. I want to thank the 9th Regiment,